when we go live on. All right. Excellent. All right, that's live there. Welcome, everybody. We're just getting ready to do a special episode of the UPX Podcast featuring Yudlugar. Is that how you pronounce it?
Say it how you want, really. It's not a made-up word. Who knows how you pronounce it?
All right. I'm going to ask you that again. I don't know why I just asked it right there. Let me count down from 3, and we'll get into it. All right. 3, 2, 1.
It's the UPX Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, thank me later, and too stupid to win. Might be coming up, session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your UPX, man. On your way in the door, hit you with $4,000.
And welcome to the UPX Podcast, folks. My name is T Davis, aka Trent, for people who don't know, and I am joined today by a special guest, Yudlugar. Is that how you pronounce it? Yudlugar?
Yeah, I say Yudlugar, but you can say how you want. It's a made-up word in it. But hi, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning, man. So B-Dag is my normal co-host, as I'm sure everybody knows, and he's been on a little vacation. I've been on vacation out. It was a pretty hectic month for us, but I'm glad I posted in the general chat in the Upland server, because here we are. Had I not said anything, this wouldn't have happened. So I'm super happy that we got the special episode going, and we got a lot to talk about. I guess the first, what's been happening? When's the last time we recorded? We've had a lot that's been going on, right? They've had additions to the app, events, contests, all kinds of stuff. What can you tell us about the last week or so?
Yeah, so I listened to the last episode yesterday. So it was just before they released the Chicago and the Cleveland collections in Santa Clara.
Yeah,
so you were doing your collection speculation, and I think you used the phrase, "If we do well, people will either think we've got insider knowledge or we're very smart." And I think there may be some hints. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Let's go smart, eh? But yeah, so that was the first thing. I guess the big thing from the Chicago collections was there was no Magnificent Mile still, or
right?
even Michigan Avenue in general. But
yeah.
I guess Too Stupid and Thank Me Later covered that a little bit.
Right. Yeah, man. How about that Damon Ave call? I can't believe that. That's just, I've been pretty lucky in the past, but that one has got to be by far my luckiest, especially because I was buying them on the actual episode.
Yeah, I don't think I heard anyone bring that one up. That was
right.
Totally left field.
Yeah. All right. Cool. We got some guests joining, Least Comic Standing. So the app, I noticed when I loaded it up, and I could share my screen here, there's a new button on the app. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So the event. So I mean, this is something that's been in feedback quite a bit, because I guess one of the issues was always, if you weren't in the Discord, it was quite hard to keep up to date with what's going on. There was a lot of stuff that the announcements were done outside of the app, I suppose. So they've added this events button, which is basically a hyperlink. It's sort of on the right hand side of the screen below where you'd get the challenges and your dividends button.
Right. Yeah.
And it takes you to, I think it takes you to upland.me/events.
Yep, sure does.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's fine. I think it maybe would look a bit neater in the quick access menu at the bottom. It looks a bit busy on mobile, I think, that little button. But on the desktop version, it's fine. It fits in nicely.
Yeah, it does. I would like to see this, and I know that's probably on their roadmap, but I would like to see this information in the app and not force the users to, even if it's your own website, sending them, if they're in the mobile app, opening up a web page is not very user friendly because then you have to like toggle your apps to get back into the game. It sends you out. It's better than nothing without a doubt. And I think there could probably be some nice benchmarks that they can hit on improvements, like bringing it all in app, along with notifications for when things are going off and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great. So we see on here the standard challenges started, I think today, right?
Yeah, it was like 9 a.m. Pacific time, I think.
Right, and that's the which ones are those again?
So it's the three. There's the Rising Star, which is the most collections. There's the Great Start, which is a visitor who gets the most visits from other people. And then there's the People's Champ, which is visiting visitors. So I think I've had a few DMs today asking me to go and visit people, but I'm in the wrong side of town at the moment. I'm in San Francisco, and there's not many to go to.
Right, and they added winners, right? Like there used to be.
Oh yeah. So they've added Spark as well. So it used to be the top 3, I think, on these. So it's now the top 50.
Wow.
It's not Spark to all 50, I don't think. But I think there's like 0.1 or 0.2 Spark to the first place.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't caught up completely with it, but I have some bad news for everybody who is competing. I regretfully inform you guys that Chica will be coming out of retirement to reclaim her People's Champ title. If you guys didn't know this, she's like, how many times have you won, honey? 6, 7, 8 times? 6 times, I think it is.
It was in a row as well, wasn't there? There was a point where it was just dominated.
Right.
But I've pulled up the tables. Actually, I was wrong. It is Spark to the full top 50, albeit 0.01 at the bottom end.
Wow.
But there's no Spark for the Great Start Challenge. That's just UPX.
Yeah. So this is going to definitely get some people excited and in the app and doing things. I didn't know that. Now that I'm hearing that it's top 50 and everybody gets Spark, I might have to jump in this too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see because they are usually competitive, but I'm not sure there's 50 people's worth of competitive. It may be a
right.
It may be a nice 15-minute job. You might be there.
Yeah, and there's UPX prizes all the way down. Look at that. I wonder if so it says 47th. I wonder how many UPX prizes they're paying out. Because I know that when you see that amount, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what that place is paying. It's split amongst anybody tied or in a certain range. So I'd be curious to see.
These tables aren't the easiest to read, but the way they've done it by brackets of 1 to 8, but then there's a different number of winners for each bracket.
Oh, gotcha.
So brackets 1 to 4 are the top 10, and then it's in groups of 10. So bracket 5 is 11 to 20, get 5,000 UPX, and then 41 to 50 will be 2,000 UPX. But you're right, there could be quite a big tie at the bottom of those, couldn't there?
Yeah, there could be where they're not getting a whole lot of UPX, but hey, they're getting Spark, and that's the coolest thing about it. That's super valuable. All right. Did you participate in the Upland Cards Burn event?
I didn't know. I do have quite a lot of Upland cards, but I didn't have 100, and I didn't really feel like buying them to do it.
I had to. I went out I had to buy them. I unstaked them from our planet where they were at. And I think I had maybe like at least half of them. So I had to buy the other half. And once I calculated all the odds, I don't know why I do that. Like normally what I'll do is I'll calculate the price of things and then look at what I could potentially win and weigh my risk reward. And then with the idea of like, this will make my decision, but I always end up doing it. Like, I don't know why I waste all that time. I get FOMO and end up doing whatever it is that, was the question, which happened here as well. And I think there were 12 NFTs that you could burn to. 10 of them were legendary and 2 were mythic. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it was. I don't know, to be honest, but it was either a legendary or a mythic that you received.
Yeah, and the odds just weren't. You would make out it was worth it if you got a mythic, but it was not worth it monetarily if you got a legendary. And so, of course, I got a legendary and I threw it back in our planet. But I'm glad that they brought that count of those commons down, because the way the our planet pool works is the less of them that are staked, the more people are earning on them. So we probably saw at least a 1 ether per hour increase, or at least a half. I don't know. I guess I didn't look. But yeah, that was pretty awesome. And they announced that the NFT portal is coming in a few weeks.
So they kind of snuck that in at the end of the Upland update. I don't think there's been a written announcement in Discord, but X1 mentioned it right at the end of it. So I think his wording was in the next coming weeks. And that's they've said Upland cards will be the first that you'll be able to bring them in with. I don't know if it's one way. I don't know if we can bring them in and out. But that'll be an interesting step for me.
Yeah, I'm super excited for all the possibilities that they can bring, and I know a few people that have gone pretty heavy on their speculation, like all of the cars and just specific items that they are speculating of having in-game value, and the fact that we're going to start seeing this come to fruition, right? Like we'll be able to import them, and then what? And just think of all of the third-party applications that's going to open up also, right? If we're able to see if a particular Upland player is holding an NFT, whether it be a Wax NFT or a Matic NFT, or from what I understand, it's going to be multi-chain, right? And so that's pretty awesome.
I mean, the big thing for me, I guess we might get on to talking about the potential partners that have been hinted at, but like if the route goes both ways and you have the possibility to buy NFTs of partner brands in Upland, particularly if you can buy it with your UPX and then send them out and sell them somewhere else, to me as well, that's quite a nice alternative huge to the property fiat out. It almost takes away one of the main criticisms of that, in that you need somebody to come in and buy your properties. If you can just go and buy an NFT that you can only get in Upland and then go and put it on a marketplace somewhere, that would be quite a big change for me.
Yeah, it'd be very lucrative. And just speaking of that, the fiat out, I was a little bit critical of their restrictions in the main Discord recently. And for those of you who didn't see it, just my issue was that the latest, I was being a spoiled brat, if I'm being completely honest, right? So I've been in fiat out since like the pre-alpha, like I was one of the original 30, and so I've had it a certain way for a very long time, and then they went and changed that and took things away from me. And so, like a child, I threw a little temper tantrum about it, and the restrictions that have been, like, they're there for a reason. And I know this, right? And I guess my complaint was that, like, the people that you knew how to respect this and do it right have been doing it that way for a very long time. We could have grandfathered them in, and you didn't. But long story short, they were just temporary, and the like the 30-day and the maybe even the FSA restrictions, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's like 6 months that it can be.
Right. Yeah. So all of those were temporary, and per X1, they're going to be, looking to change those, which is great. It's great news. because they are, in my opinion, they are a little too strict right now, and it doesn't really follow the model of many of the other play to earn games, right? Because I think a lot of us are involved in many play to earn games, and I know Upland being in the U.S. is a big reason why it is as it is, with the restrictions and
Sure.
not moving the token out. But there is going to be a lot of opportunity, I feel like you just mentioned, for people to actually really start bringing in decent revenue on a regular basis, which is super exciting. So what else do we have going on? Oh, you know what I saw? I got to go find it. I saw a building that required like 60 spark or something crazy like that. Do you know which building I'm talking about?
Are you talking about the landmarks?
Yep.
So it's the ferry building, isn't it? It's one ferry.
It sure is.
Because there's two that I think they did they put in the model for Kite Tower as well?
So I haven't seen it, and so
I think it might be Sanctum owns it, maybe it's somebody like that. I don't think they've started the building on the other one, but I think the model is there ready for them to do so.
Right. So I knew that they were going with Ghirardelli Square, which is owned by Mixplick. The ferry building, which is owned by Jones. And I think Coit Tower was not Sanctum. I think it was somebody who might not be very active, which is right. Just had to get us a nice little angle here before I shared it.
But if you go to that handy new Upland events page, it's still got the article up about this, so you can see the two models in the screenshot there. So they do have the model for Kite Tower that you can see at that point.
Yeah,
but it is the ferry building and Kite Tower that they've done so far.
Oh, so it was it was the square that they omitted this time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but yeah. So I saw Jones. I saw Jones posting in the general Discord. He wanted to make it a sort of community build, and he was asking for 500 people to stake 0.1 spark or something along those lines. Once I have a bit free, I'm gonna throw it on. But it's not that far away, actually, is it?
Oh yeah, dude. I have. Let's do this right now. Jones, here you go, buddy. I'm about to drop. Oh, maximum stake is 777. Why is it giving me an issue? All right, there you go, buddy. Drop 7.7 on it for you.
Maybe nobody else can join the community build. I think you've just filled it all up, haven't you?
I don't. Is that how it works? I don't even know.
I think there is a maximum, but who knows what it'll be.
Yeah. So this is super cool. I love that it's scaled out. Like, to me, this looks right. The some of like the apartment buildings, and they just didn't look right. Whether or not they were to scale or not, they just didn't look right all the time. This looks perfect. I love this, and I think that this is gonna be so cool once it's done. And so I guess I can go look for Kite Tower, right? Last time I looked, it wasn't being built. Yeah. So that's where I wonder if the owner has to click a button. Fu Manchu is who it is.
They need to
initiate it.
As if I presumably the same way you would on any other building. I assume it's the same mechanism, so they'll need to stake a minimum spark to it.
Oh yeah, look, we got Mixplick in the chat. Why didn't they? How come they're not building your landmark, bud? What's going on? Awesome. Libraries, Oakland libraries. What can you tell me about that?
So yeah, I guess I guess they've taken an approach here that's been commented a few times, but they have, to an extent, given them away in multiple different methods. So we've seen a few different. We saw a couple of challenges. We saw some straight up raffles. We saw a reverse auction. We saw a store sale of them. So there was quite a few of them, I guess, in total, but we saw them distributed in various different manners, which I kind of think is okay. I don't mind that. I think however they do it, some people are going to have an issue with whichever method they choose. So I think it's reasonably smart to try and do it in a few different ways.
Yeah, and hey, look at this. I'm in Oakland right now. I saw an announcement about this. Look who owns this train terminal here. 110.
Okay. Oh, wow.
So that just for our listeners who can't see our screen. So this is Oakland Train Terminal 1 of 10, and the property is owned by X1 the Gamer. So this particular train terminal has quite a history, and a little bit that involves myself and a user by the name of Clever Name. It's really quick. I could tell you the history on it. So somebody minted this property that wasn't supposed to. They did a giveaway, and we saw the winners. I think it was Wheel of Names, if I'm not mistaken. And then somebody whose name was not on that winners list ended up minting it. And Clever Name and I were determined to figure out how they were able to do that. How did they mint something that was locked for a specific player? And long story short, we not only figured it out, but in that process, we came to find that this person didn't even do anything malicious. It was just a small error in the logic of the code. So when they set a property to be locked by a certain player and only that player can mint it, well, what they didn't think of is what happens if that player doesn't go directly to that property first and mint it. And what happens if they click on another property? Because when you click on a property to buy it, that immediately locks it. And that's how you prevent like two people from minting the property at the same time while there's that asynchronous stuff going on with the blockchain. So when they must have went to a different property, clicked the buy button, and then that unlocked the train terminal because you can only have one property locked at a time. And then I guess that's when that player fortunately found that property available and minted it, the train terminal. And for whatever reason, it's taken this long for them to get it back. But that's what you're seeing now. It's going to be burned. So it's going to be burned now from X1's account and then re-put on the map, I believe. And so then we'll see, as you guys can see, there's 2 terminals here that are unminted. There will then be 3. So 1, 8, and 9 will still be available. And I would imagine that they'd give those away. Have you ever owned a terminal?
No, I haven't. Not something I've managed. I think I was quite close when they did the San Francisco airports. I think that's the only time I've had enough liquidity on hand to actually try and mint one. I was close in one of maybe the Cleveland store sale. I think I was 15th in line and I was 1 too far away. So maybe the next one I'll get there. I've never looked at buying one on the secondary. But,
no, I don't know that I would want one that bad, but I was lucky enough to finally get a Chicago one, which I immediately flipped it, and I have no regrets.
Yeah. So now I'm looking at X1 the Gamer's account to see what else he owns. But, the others are not as spectacular as the terminal. He's got a Sunset collection and some stuff in Fresno. That's
right. Yeah. So I think
Cleveland.
that, and I bet you if you were to go back and look through that account like even deeper, that you'll see that those properties all precede his employment with Upland. I'm almost certain that that's the case, and they likely haven't been touched soon. But yeah, if I remember correctly, X1 the gamer was in fact the gamer and played Upland before he started, but he doesn't.
He minted a Cleveland property on the 26th of July. I wonder if he doesn't live in Cleveland, does he? Has he gone and bought his house?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it was like, other than that, you're right. It's all like November 2020.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about. We should ask him. Nice. FSA property too. Interesting. Awesome. All right. Well, the summer game contests, did we talk about that? They did some block explorers too, I think, right?
Yeah, so there's an issue with these block explorers, isn't there? Because there was one of these contests. I think it was the treasure hunting one. I believe they put in a tier of treasure hunts for summer games chests. Again, I think you could get. They were quite good prizes. I think they went from sort of 1,500 up to 15,000.
Wow.
In the chests, but then because they were quite frequent, they were every 10, 15 minutes or so. So it was quite often in riot mode as well. And then there was also some 100 UPX Spark prizes in that. So you'd get a chest with 100 UPX and then you get Spark at the end of it. And so the challenge leaderboard was the most treasures claimed, and that included limited and exclusive.
Oh, wow.
So there was some pretty tight competition, and there was like a group of players who you could see just every 3 hours kind of as a group going up and up the leaderboard. And I don't think any of them slept for however long it was. It was like the whole weekend, Friday through to Sunday or something. So, it was quite an intense competition. But what they said was the top 100, and it was in 2 tiers. It was directors and executives, and then uplanders and pros. They said the top 100 of each tier would get a block explorer, which doesn't seem to have happened. Some people have had it in their account, and others haven't. So there's plenty of comments in the feedback in Discord, but I don't think we've seen a response yet. Maybe that'll be resolved. Maybe they've meant the top 100 across both tiers, but I don't think that's right, because in the images they showed 2 different ones. I think there's like a red and a blue Olympic torch.
Yeah, so I have I guess I bought this and I don't remember. I got one of the badminton ones. Yeah, I guess I did buy that.
Yeah, that was in the store sale. You had to buy 10,000 UPX or something of that ilk.
Which I guess I didn't know this, because I had a user reach out to me in DM and asked if it were possible to. So that special web store that they had, this one in particular, the question was, could you buy with crypto, which you can only do on a desktop. It's not available in the app, but if you're on mobile, you can go into a browser, pull up play.upland.me, and then navigate it that way. But the answer was no on the crypto. But what I did find out is that you can use your fiat out balance if you have one in that web store. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that might have changed. I have a feeling you couldn't do that to begin with.
Right.
Certainly on like the terminal sales, people were wanting to do that and they couldn't.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I have played about a little bit with these store sales. I think might have been the sunglasses one, the Genesis Week 2021. Because there was however many 300 or something. So I was trying to buy the last one to see if I'd get the last mint number of the shades. And from my experimentation, I think I found that the asset numbers are not related to the order that you buy them in. So I don't think the first person to buy gets mint number 1.
Awesome. All right. We kind of talked about Cleveland, Chicago collections. But tell me, how did you do in Santa Clara?
So I didn't have a huge amount of UPX ready. I think I had about 500k, something like that. I bought one El Camino property, and then I had no money left. That was.
I probably spent even less than that, to be honest with you. I wasn't there for the release. I was busy, and I just got my 3 lonely properties right next to each other.
Yeah, but it didn't work out too badly because the collections, the neighborhood collections, didn't sell out straight away. So, and I was working with a couple of FSA players as well, so I did manage to pick up the 3 neighborhood collections following that. I think I sold the El Camino for two times markup, something like that.
Oh,
so
wow.
That was like a $500 profit. Happy enough with that.
Wow. Yeah. I think I might have seen that in the numbers one week.
Yeah, but those Caminos and even the exclusive ones went really quickly. My partner M Violet was trying to get the exclusive street, and it was just a case of following somebody down and being slightly too slow to each one to mint.
Right.
It was. I think the laptop nearly went out the window, to be honest.
Yeah. So speaking of new areas, there's 2 things that we definitely have to talk about. And they're related here. So why do you think, and I'll try to segue into it, why do you think they picked Santa Clara?
Yeah, so one of the things that came up when Santa Clara first came on the map, and everyone saw the ultra rare markers on the NVIDIA buildings, and there was all of a sudden a bit of chaos of, wow, new partner NVIDIA, this is going to be amazing. We then, looking around a bit more, there was the Intel building, there was a couple of other microprocessor manufacturers, and then the ultra rare collection was actually the fabricator. I can't remember who, there was a user called Steve J, I think, who I was talking to, and he went through and he pulled all of the locked properties in the different neighborhoods that were less than 5,000 up squares. So I think above 5,000 up squares, the properties are deemed too big and they stay locked. So then we had this list of properties and we went through them all and we looked at, are they an ultra rare? Are they likely to be a landmark? Because that would be the other category under which they'd be locked. So the only one we could find that wasn't too big and wasn't an ultra rare, there was a museum that's quite near the train station. And then there was a building that's next to the 49ers stadium that looks to be some sort of like training ground, something of that kind of thing for the team. Maybe it's a club shop as well.
Say this again and let me scroll over there because I'm kind of in that area. So
okay. So what's the name of the stadium? Is it Soldier Field?
It's Levi's Stadium, I believe, or hold on.
Because I don't remember exactly where it is on the map. This was a couple of weeks ago we were looking at it.
So I think this is it here.
Yeah. So that building to your right.
This one here?
That one there. So I thought that shouldn't be locked.
Right.
And so my initial thinking was you find the property that shouldn't be locked and it is locked, and that's the biggest indicator you can get as to what the partner might be, because obviously they said in the announcement that there's going to be a reason that they've chosen Santa Clara, and that'll all become clear soon. So that led me to say, wow, is it going to be the NFL team or the league as a whole? And then
right.
And then this kind of ties into the whole comments they made about 20 cities. Like, for a partner that needs you to release 20 cities across the country in the USA, sports seems the most plausible reason for doing that.
Right. So
since then, we've seen the partner website updated. So on the upland.me/partners, you used to have a page that had like blockchain heroes, it had EOS network, it had so on and so on. So that page. So there's now a different partner website. So if you go to the Upland Me website and go down to the bottom where you've got the sort of tree of all the different pages and click that partner page, it takes you to a sports page called Soccer NFT Metaverse. And you see this big headline at the top of the NFT fun layer for soccer teams and soccer fans. And as you go through, it's got various things in it. It almost feels like a bit of a pitch page to sports teams as to why you should come and join Upland, but it's very much soccer themed. So it says next generation fan engagement, introducing NFT metaverse campaigns for your sport brand. And it's got before the game, imagine your fans traveling virtually throughout the metaverse by trains, planes, and soon cars, or even Hyperloop to the city of an upcoming game. Once arrived, fans are offered a variety of activities. And during the game, those fans that had early registration obtain the rights to access rare NFTs called Upland Legits. And so, and it goes on. So in Santa Clara, the San Jose Earthquakes Stadium is also quite nearby. It's not actually in the city. So if you go to where the train station is, and the train station is quite close to the border of the city. So that sort of western border of the South 101 neighborhood, there's an icon on for the Smoking Pig Barbecue, and just to the left of that, there's a field, and that field there is the stadium for the San Jose Earthquakes MLS team. So I can kind of see that maybe they've put the city next to it, and then the plan was to just extend it slightly once they want to bring that in.
Sure.
But then, so yesterday, I guess this is going on a bit.
Yeah, go for it, man.
But so yesterday,
for some reason I can't find it now. Did they?
No, they've gone. Yeah. So yesterday morning, sort of 9-10 a.m. sort of time, there was neighborhood lines appeared in New Jersey area, in the Rutherford and East Rutherford. So they were tiny. Like there was two neighborhoods next to each other, and it was like
Rutherford and East Rutherford.
Yeah, it was like half the size of Manhattan, maybe even smaller.
Yeah, it's tiny. And so I'm for the listeners who don't know, I was born and raised in New Jersey, South Jersey. I've definitely been up in this area, but I didn't grow up around here. But I can tell you that East Rutherford is known for one thing and one thing only, and that is the Meadowlands complex, and which is now, I believe, the MetLife Stadium. Maybe our audience can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I believe that's what the Giants Stadium is called now, MetLife. And the fact that we have Santa Clara, it was a weird city, right? And what's weird is that East Rutherford is also a weird city, and the one thing that they have in common, and it's a huge commonality, is they have NFL stadiums in them. There's the Giants play in East Rutherford, and the 49ers play in Santa Clara. And so I would be shocked if it wasn't related in some regard. So I'm not necessarily saying that it has to be the NFL. It's definitely the NFL, because obviously we see the soccer page, and we know that, you know, these stadiums house multiple sports teams. I don't know. So I did some research. Maybe you can answer this, but who plays soccer in this area?
So I had a look at that. The New York has two MLS teams, I think. They've got the New York Red Bull team and the New York City FC. I think the New York City FC don't have their own stadium. They use one of the NFL teams or the baseball teams or something, and they're looking at building one in Brooklyn area. But the Red Bulls do play in New Jersey, and it's a bit further south.
Yeah, it's in Newark, I think.
It's like at the sort of where the river sort of does a little loop below that point.
Yeah, and it looks like New York FC plays at Yankee Stadium, which would be the Bronx.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they are looking at building their own stadium, but it's not near this area.
Yeah, it's very peculiar that, and it's gonna make a lot more sense, I guess, once we know. We'll be like, duh, that's what it was. Maybe it was the NFL. It's the NFL. I'm gonna be hyped.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of see this as maybe linking into the NFT portal. I wonder if once we get the NFT portal, that's needed in order for them to really put in place the mechanisms they're talking about on this partners page.
Yeah, can you imagine how cool it would be to be in Upland, performing some action or competing in some challenge or something where you win an NFT or you obtain an NFT, which you then use as ticket to entry into the real life stadium. Like that would be the coolest thing, you know.
Because Top Shots have been stepping up that kind of real world utility as well. They've started doing that kind of thing.
Yes, we are. This is actually our first episode. For anybody joining late, this is my first episode with Yudlugar, who's filling in for BDAG, who is on vacation. And we decided to just go all out for our first episode and stream it live to Twitch and YouTube. I spent about an hour or so on the phone earlier this evening with Too Stupid to Win. Just catching up, man. We've been so busy with our lives that we really haven't talked much. And I asked him if he minded if we streamed it, and he gave me the all clear. So here we are. Awesome.
So I think there's a couple of other things that have come in. I think there was the East Coast property development got hinted at. There was maybe some confusion over numbers, but they've suggested if we hit a certain amount of spark between the user base, the East Coast property development will be made live.
So that's going to be exciting for sure, which I believe that does include Chicago and Cleveland, right? Even though that would technically be Midwest, they're going to.
So I saw that. I think NubX posted in general that X1 had confirmed that in the Contributors Network channel. I haven't seen the confirmation directly from the team. I've only seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why if you're going to add it, just go ahead and add everything, because then you would, that would be all the cities at that point. Actually, you know what? I don't know the answer to this. Can you build in Santa Clara already or Oakland?
You can build in Oakland. I don't think you can in Santa Clara.
You cannot. Interesting. So they would have to add those couple. What about obviously Bakersfield. We know you can build there. Our friends over at the Oaks. Cool, man. Well, that's super exciting. I know that I will be stoked to build some skyscrapers on my properties in Manhattan. That's where I really went in. I wasn't early enough to be able to take advantage of San Francisco, not nearly as much as my friend Mix in the audience. He's got tons of awesome properties, but Manhattan was where I came in. It was maybe a week or two before they started minting, and I went in pretty hard. When did you start? I think you said January, right?
Yeah. It was like really, really at the start of January, sort of a new year, new me. Let's go and play Upland. So I started as a visitor Uplander. I think I deposited $50, something like this. So I started off in San Francisco, and I've pretty much kept to that kind of San Francisco is my home sort of philosophy.
Yeah, excellent.
That's where the money gets reinvested. But I did get a chance to go to Manhattan a couple of times, I think when I'd saved up a bit, I went and did a bit of collection speculation, following the guidance of the podcast, and as always, did very well with my Tribeca and my Chinatown.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. Yeah, Tribeca was just, it was such a layup. I think. I mean, at least it's easier for me to say now in hindsight where it was right, but yeah, how fun was that? And it was just as fun with Chicago, in my opinion. Cleveland, I hate to rag on Cleveland, but when you're not familiar with the names, like everybody in the East Coast, like you've at least heard the word Tribeca, and if you say Chinatown in Manhattan, like you know that it's globally known.
Cleveland, these places. No idea.
Yeah, Cleveland is, but it didn't stop us from speculating. I know that B-Dag did really well. He hit the nail on the head with this public square speculation, which was pretty awesome. I have a bunch that I just picked up as like my fiat out props. I grab cheap ones and then just list them for $3. But getting back to Manhattan and the East Coast and Brooklyn, I can't wait. I hope they give us some new 3D renderings to play with. Like, we need skyscrapers. We have to have skyscrapers. You know what else happened today? And I don't know that we mentioned it. So they have the special level up time frame, right? And that was today, I think. Maybe 5 to 7 p.m. PST. Does that sound right?
Yeah. I misunderstood that. So I interpreted it as we're gonna get Spark rewards to pros and uplanders when they level up. And I read the announcement as being when those users level up, they get the 20% bonus if they do it in this time frame. It seems like, as far as I can tell, it applies to everyone. So if you level up to director, if you level up to executive, you get that 20% bonus. So stupidly, I did my level up last week.
To what level?
To executive.
Oh, wow.
So that missed myself 0.2 spark, but yeah, can't really complain too much.
I got a long way to go to get to chief executive. So that's not going to benefit me. Oh, you know what? It's looking at my numbers here. Shout out to TM. Did you see what TM did?
He got to chief executive?
He got to 10,000 properties.
Oh, wow.
That's ridiculous. Yeah. I don't even have 1,000 and he has 10,000.
I would hate to have that many.
Could you imagine like that what kind of property management does he have to deal with? Which, speaking of, I don't know that we've gotten. So I think somebody mentioned the filters working in one city, but I didn't verify that. Do you know anything about that?
No. So when I was listening the other week, you kind of brought this up on the podcast this is a sneak preview. We've just been told about this is coming. It hadn't come into it. I'll be honest. I haven't used those property filters yet. I haven't come up to a point where it would be useful to do them in the asset wallet.
Yeah, so I'm not seeing them anywhere. Oh yeah, there they are. So you have to go down into your assets, and then there's a little filter. I should be sharing my screen so you guys can see this. So let's see. Let me start all over again. So we go to there, and then we click on assets, ignore the 771 messages I have pending. And then we click on the little filter icon. And now let's see what I have in. Let's find a good one. height Ashbury. Do I have any height Ashbury? Did that stick? Or do I have to click search? How does this work? There it is. Apply. All right. So cool. So then that filters out, and then it's got the little red badge there letting me know that I have properties in Lone Mountain, which is one of my favorite neighborhoods. This church is super cool. Let me just brag and show this off really quick. Yeah. It's a pretty nice, enormous church. I should have entered this into the 3D rendering challenge that they had, but I was just too busy with other things. Did you enter into that?
No, it's beyond my talents is 3D rendering.
Yeah, it's a bit beyond my skill set. All right, man. So what else do we have? What do we have in the week coming up? You know, I heard a rumor that our Block Explorer shops should be coming soon. So those of listeners in the business beta, I know that we haven't had much news, and we've been very critical of that. And I think on both sides, I think you can see, I don't fault Upland for being like overwhelmed with business. I think it's fantastic. I'm understanding of that. And I'm super excited to be on the edge of my seat to know that should be coming in, I don't know, maybe a couple of months, which is fantastic. I think there were an original maybe 10 Block Explorer shop owners in the business beta, and then they have the decor shops, which is park benches and fountains and 3D objects to put on your actual property to decorate it and make it look nice. And those will be coming shortly after they debut the Block Explorers. But all of these Block Explorers that we've been collecting over the year now, because I think it's been about a year since I've been in Upland. I could probably check that.
I mean, they definitely go back to like Halloween 2019 times, aren't they? 2019 Halloween. 2020?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So the thing about the assets, though, is so a lot of those are a lot older than they actually say. I can share my screen again. So if you go in here and look, and I don't know how this is going to play out when it comes time to sell these, right? But like, for example, you said the Halloween one, right? And so if we go look at my Halloween, it says the mint date was June 4th, 2021. And that is neither, actually, maybe that might be April. I always get confused because I don't know how they render this, if this is in European or American. But now that I think about it, June 4th was not further enough back. So it must have been April 6th that we got this. And it just wasn't, that's not a Halloween 2020. And that's when we got it. Yeah. So it's when they were minted, which kind of stinks, because I would have liked to seen when I actually received it in my inventory, but that doesn't make it any less special. And this is the only cool mint that I have. Do you have any closer mints or split mints or
I've got mints? I've got a couple of split mints, but they are on even numbers. I think. No, or is it on odd numbers? Yeah, so I think I've got like out of 25, and I've got number 13, and it calls it a split mint.
Gotcha. Yeah, I only have this one closer mint. What about you guys in the audience? What's the coolest Block Explorer number or mint that our audience has? Go ahead and post it up in the comments, and we'll show it on the screen.
Oh, Poison's got a splitter mint turtle. That's going to be hard to beat, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. That is pretty cool. All right, man. Where's the time? We're closing in on an hour. What else do you have for the audience before we let them go?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we've just talked about what's happened in the last week, haven't we? And we've filled an hour. I don't know. Have you seen anything else that's coming up in the coming week?
You know what? I would know. I'm a little bit off my game just because this was a little impromptu. There's no excuse. Like normally I would have run numbers and we would have talked data, but I figured that you and I would have a lot to talk about as our first episode together. And so let me see. The most recent stuff they posted in the announcements was all right, well, the in-app challenges, we talked about that. The Thrifty Trader winners, did we talk about this? I don't think we did.
No. So yeah, this is the one where it was a bit of a mixed criteria for how they would choose the winners, but there wasn't much of an indication as to the weighting of the different categories. So it was based on markups that you sell at, the number you sell at, the number of unique buyers that you sell to, and so on.
Sure.
So I kind of think I like that. It struck me that maybe some of the Upland Contributors Network had a bit of feedback for them here, because I guess this is a derivation of the whoever sells the most and whoever buys the most in just UPX value, and we had issues with groups of players who were selling back and forth to each other and so on and so on.
Right, yeah.
So I kind of see this as an attempt to do that kind of challenge, but do it better.
Right. Yeah, they definitely disqualified some players for suspicious activity, which is exactly what you just said. Not competing in the spirit of the game, selling back and forth between, you and your partner, or, even worse, you and yourself. It's going to be spotted, and they're going to get that out of there.
So, for I considered trying that Thrifty Trader event, but I was a bit worried that I'd misjudge which bit was important without seeing the detail behind it. And I can see why they haven't released the detail, because it means that people can't try and game the contest as easily. But for me, it put me off a little bit competing. I could sell one property for a huge markup, but does that matter?
Right.
So I think hopefully we get a little bit more information the next time they do something like that as to exactly what is happening.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, Yudlugar, thank you so much for filling in. We're going to have you back at some point. We'll do another episode.
Don't do it too often, because it's very early in the morning.
Yeah, dude, thank you so much.
It's not gonna be a weekly thing. This getting up at this time, but hopefully you get regular service back soon with BDAG.
Right, BDAG should. Well, I mean, he's already back. It's funny. I saw him in a Discord server, and I was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing?" I thought you were on vacation still. I'm like, I already replaced you, man. I said, Yudlugar and I are going on in 20 minutes, but that means he'll be back on Sunday, and we're going to have to come up with something unique for that episode, since you and I just covered all of this. But you know what? If we see East Rutherford on the map again, like that's what I love about having BDAG as my co-host, is I can just, when you talk about being a property expert, like he's one of the best that there is, as far as, like explaining all of the details of the in real life, population, the property, the landscape, all of that. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll have a East Rutherford speculation and hear some news about what we can expect from property costs and all of that. So awesome. All right. Well, my audience, thank you so much for joining us, and we're out of here.
It's the UPX Podcast, baby. Glad you tuned in. Got your host, thank me later, and too stupid to win. Might be coming up session as soon as you begin. Start out king of the street, then lock in iconic in. Welcome to Upland. Grab your UPX, man. On your way, and the doll hit you with $4,000. Get to buying and gripping, then to selling and flipping, over to moving and shucking. I'm Scrooge McDuckin in UPX.
And clear. Are you there?
I'm still here. You know, I've never listened to that music on headphones. I've always just had it on my tinny phone speaker. It's a lot. It's a lot better with a proper sound system.
Yeah. Here, let me drop some subs to our viewers. How many do we got? We'll do this many. So yeah, dude, this was awesome, man. Thank you for doing this with me. I think I needed this. I needed somebody to break BDAG and I out of, like, because you kind of get comfortable doing the same thing, like the same routine over and over and over, and then you get complacent with comfortability, and you don't want to do new things. So the fact that you were here with me today gave me the initiative and motivation to go ahead and pump this out live. I just dropped
no worries. Good fun. Nice to have a chat. I think the last time I did a podcast, I drank a bottle of whiskey and passed out and snored for the last hour of it, so it went better than that one.
Yeah. So, all right, man. I'm going to cut the stream off, and you go grab some coffee and breakfast or whatever.
Yeah, no worries.
Need to do. And audience, thank you so much. I dropped some subs for you guys. We'll see you over in the Discord. Cool.
Cheers.